Welcome back to Cheesecode with Roman Dimitri. Pour la service en français, appuyez sur le 2. This video is part of the Basics series. Today I'll talk about microservices and explain why you should always start with a monorepo. So now let's jump into services and the separation of concerns. That's not my problem. You keep that shit to yourself. This is a concept video, so I won't go into specific examples. Instead, I'll make a dedicated playlist to working with a monorepo, specifically focused on boot scripts, version control, and branching strategy. In this video, we'll compare a few options to organize your code and explain why the monorepo is the best choice for a one-man army or a small team. Essentially, your options are keep your code in one place, a monolith, or better yet, separate that code into separate microservices, and then decide how many repositories you're going to have. Spoiler alert, one repository, aka a monorepo for all your services, is the best place to start. Monorepos are great because they leave opportunity to expand and split into separate repositories as the team grows. Just give me the goods. If you want the goods now, just skip ahead to the monorepo chapter. Let's dive in. First, a history lesson. Before JavaScript became popular and powerful, we had something called MVC, Model View Controller, where the backend rendered all front-end components. The components were typically static, so this worked out great. Then React came along, a front-end framework that uses JavaScript to render DOM elements, so code started to separate into front-end and back-end repositories. That's really cool. This was cool at first, but the novelty quickly wore off due to the overhead that it created. Now, the monorepo is popular because you can separate your services and keep them under one version control, giving you the best of both worlds. To come back full circle, we now have server-side rendering frameworks like Next.js that leverage React to generate DOM on the backend. We're essentially back to MVC, but what do I know? Let's explore these options in detail. Monolith, monolith, monolith. It's that one. With this approach, you have one service that runs all your modules. It hosts your front and back code in one place. It's called a monolith because it will tend to grow out of control and turn into a monolithic mess of spaghetti code. The point is, monolith equals bad. Let's just leave it at that. Don't do this at home. I'm at home and I'm not planning to do this. You're getting it. Microservices. Microservices. You can force yourself to avoid smashing things in one place by creating separate services for major parts of your code. The most obvious split is to split front-end and back-end, but you can split much deeper than that. You can have multiple front-ends, customer-facing side, dashboard for your staff, and a super admin panel for yourself. You can split your backend into multiple parts as well, such as the core, authentication, permissions, whatever. See if I give a shit. And once you split your code, you'll need to store it somewhere. You can use separate repositories or a single monorepo. Imana. Let's compare these options. Multirepo. A separate repository for each service works great for larger companies because they'll have a team of developers working on each specific repository. And those developers can stay focused on their own code with their own release cycles and branching strategies. This approach leads to version discrepancies and the need for deprecation strategies to avoid broken dependencies. To prevent broken dependencies. This approach prevents. That was a mouthful. Let's say that again. This approach leads to version discrepancies and the need for long-term deprecation strategy to prevent broken dependencies. What the fuck did you say? Excuse me, what did you say? You have two services. You make a break and change in one, you have to update the other. Or have a deprecation strategy in place. This type of maintenance needs to be proactive and methodical. And most people don't like to do that. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. If you're a one-man army, there's no need for you to have separate repositories for each service. You're not there yet. It's absolutely too soon. What you want is a monorepo. That's next. Hi, my name is Monorepo, and I like to take long walks on the beach. Did you mean monorepo? Yes, monorepo. Monorepo. There can be only one. Singular. It's singular. I think that means one of them. I think, yeah. Do this. With a monorepo, you have all your services in one place. Every project needs to start with a monorepo, so you can boot that bitch with just one command. Again, this is a concept video, and I'll be making a playlist dedicated to building the perfect monorepo. Perfect means flexible, maintainable, and easy to use. Basically, sick with it. Let's get to some specific benefits. Boot script. The biggest benefit for me is being able to write a boot script that can start the entire project with one command. I'll make a dedicated playlist where we'll build and iterate on a boot script together. The short version is we'll use make commands to run bash scripts that execute Docker to load our dependencies. There's so much I want to say, but it will be easier just to show you. Version control. In a monorepo, you can update your services all in one place with one consistent version history. All services can have the same version number, and this will solve 99% of your breaking change problems. The other 1% is for mobile apps, but don't worry about that for now. Of course, this assumes you're updating all the code in all the relevant services at the same time. If you're working on, say, the front end and someone else on the back end, you should make your changes on a separate feature branch before making one coherent merge into the main branch. Soon, I'll make a separate video discussing my ideal branching strategy and the use of Git rebase. Can you hear the construction? Scaling. Scaling means many things. If you need to add a new service, you can do that quickly without concern for new repository setup. Once your team grows and you're ready, you can remove a specific service out of the monorepo into a dedicated repository and start reaping the benefits of the multi-repo approach. I heard there were benefits? With the monorepo approach, you're leaving the door open while minimizing the burden of switching repositories and making multiple commits. For now, just know if you're a one-man army or a small team, the monorepo approach will work best for you. Again, this is a concept video, and I'll make a dedicated playlist that gets into the details. Specific, concrete examples. In conclusion, every new project should start with a monorepo. New project equals monorepo. I'm starting a new project. Ah, yes, monorepo. Good architecture is about forward thinking, such as reducing future maintenance hurdles. Anyway, store your code in a monorepo and set yourself up for success. Your future self will feel joy when you realize your past self is thinking of you. That warms my heart. Hugs and kisses. Stay safe. Tim Hortons doesn't pay me. I just really like their coffee.